So we're talking today about the Women's Peace Circle that has just taken place in Juba with a number of women from different subnational locations where POF is working, and also some drawn from Juba. And to discuss a little bit more about what's happened, why it happened, and the impact, let's say, of this whole process and the potential moving forward. And Njeri from Kenya, who's a long-time facilitator of peace circles and other peace-related facilitation processes with different groups in different parts of the world. Minagano Kape, who's the peace-building advisor with the POF, and Nyadow Makuach, who's going to be coordinating this Women for Peace program moving forward. So thank you for joining this conversation today. If I can start with you, Anne, a week where these women experience a so-called peace circle.
Yeah.
So just in a nutshell, what is a peace circle?
Peace circles is actually in full, it is Creators of Peace Circles. And it is a program of initiatives of change organization, which is a global network of people who are trying to make a difference in the world. The Peace Circles itself is a women's program where they create spaces for women only to really explore their role in peace building in their own lives, in their families, in their communities, in the society, the government. They encourage women to actively participate in peace creation at every level of the society. It also encourages women to be the ones to break chains of hatred and bitterness in communities as a way of the bigger picture of building peace in society, communities, and in the country and in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what are some of the key themes that are explored with that kind of objective in mind in the course of a peace circle?
The Peace Circles rotates around 10 gathering points. Mm-hmm. The main ones being exploring what is peace anyway, looking at, what does peace mean? We keep on talking about peace, but what is it? The other one is on circles of concerns, looking at what is it that women are concerned about in their own lives, in their communities. The other one is on inner peace, because people talk about peace as something that is outside, but hardly do we look at peace from starting with ourselves. We don't have peace within us. We cannot have peace outside of us. Another key concept is the power of forgiveness. And in the power of forgiveness, it's looking at, why is forgiveness needed? Why is it difficult for people to forgive? Why should we even forgive? And looking at that is also a necessary component in peace building. There is also inner listening. Mm-hmm. And in inner listening, it's exploring how peace is connected to living a reflective life. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure that you're living a life that is audited in a way? So, and then there are three key things around inner listening, and that is, connection, how you connect with yourself. Correction, what needs to be corrected in your life, where do you need to change things in your life? And then there's direction. So after changing whatever needs to be changed in your own lives, how can you take that outside to the communities. So, and this is in a way saying, you know, living a reflective life, changing whatever needs to change in you, and also looking at how can that be taken out to other people in the communities to also bring transformation over there. And then there is peace in practice, where women are encouraged to continue, in a way, building peace in their own communities, to come up with ideas of what it is that they can do to practice peace in their own lives together as a group or even individually. So that's basically what is covered in the peace circles.
So you cover a lot of material over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Minagano, of all these themes and the experience as a whole, what stood out to you? What was the key in all of this?
Okay, I think a number of things stood out for me, but I just want to start by saying that it was my first time to experience such a space, because the level of safety in that space was, let me say, out of this world. A space where women who barely know each other just come together and they have poured out their hearts, they have poured out their stories. And I think I was quite moved by the strength that was in that room, because these are women who have experienced a lot of injustices. They have stories from the past which is not necessarily pleasant, but they have overcome, and they have great hope for their future, for their family, but also for this country and for their communities. And they're willing to use the pain from their stories to make a difference in their communities. And I think that taps a lot into the model of from pain to purpose. And there was a lot of reflections on that. So I think there was a lot of hope in that room. Another thing that also stood out for me is the whole experience helped me to look at peace from a completely different perspective. Because being a South Sudanese and living and growing up here, when we talk about peace, we think about politics. We think about peace agreements. We think about the government. But we think less about peace within ourselves, peace within our families, peace within our communities. And I think that is really where everything needs to start. This is where we can be able to change from the micro level. And that connects with the module on peace begins with me. If you don't have peace within yourself, how then can you be able to pour into your family? How then can you be able to change your community? So I think that was quite eye-opening for me. And it has given me the opportunity to now sit back and reflect and ask myself the difficult but yet important questions on where do we start? Where do I start as an individual? I've been working on the area of peace building for quite some years now, but we've been moving in circles. So maybe I need to look inward so that I can have enough to pour on the outside. So I think the whole experience was amazing, educative, and humbling in a way, to be able to stay there and listen to the stories of other women, just realizing that me being in Juba, living in Juba, and the women who are coming from the States, our stories are very similar, and we share a lot. And despite our differences, there's a lot of similarities as women. And given the fact that we have brought women from communities who have fought each other, who I can say sometimes hate each other, quote unquote, when these women came together in the circle, it's like they just saw themselves as women first. And there was the hatred at the community level was not there. So if these women can be able to cultivate the peace within themselves, then I'm very hopeful that what they have cultivated within themselves, the sisterhood, the unity, can then be able to, they can pour it out to their families and communities, and hopefully it will it will go, and the whole country will benefit from it. Yeah.
Can I add something?
By all means.
Thank you. I think also what is also very key in peace circles, and I forgot to mention that, is the bit of the story, personal story sharing, where women share key turning points in their lives or what has made them who they are. So every woman is given an opportunity. Nobody is forced. Everybody decides whatever it is they want to share. And that is usually one of the most powerful elements in that whole process. Of course, then it is coupled with a lot of reflections throughout the program. So it's a very reflective process from the beginning to the end.
And Nyadow.
And when they shared the stories, I noticed that they can even say that I have started to change.
Yes.
Yeah, because if someone shared stories, she would say that the burden that was inside me, now I feel relieved, so it is very helpful a lot. Yeah.
And tell us a bit about your experience of the process.
My experience, I have been going through a lot on this peace building workshops or the trainings, but I have never experienced a workshop or a training like this one before. Like, it has helped me a lot with first of all, I just know there was peace or there is peace. And then when we go through it, Njeri was the one taking us through. I have come to notice that if I need to change, I need to start it with myself first. Then after that, that's when I can go and change other people. Like, it has been very grateful to me, and now I have known that I can use my pain to purpose, at least to go and change my family, community, and the rest of the community.
And so did you find for yourself that there was a practical kind of aspect to it that you were able to take? I mean, everything you're describing sounds impactful in the moment, in that space with the women, but was there anything that you feel already you're able to take outside that space and to contribute to the peace in the wider?
Yeah, especially on embracing forgiveness or practicing forgiveness, I able to take an action. And there's this grudge that I've been holding for 4 years. And when I went through the module, is it 6, module 5, module 4, then I just go straight, said that there is no benefit of me putting this grudge inside me. Let me just go to that person. And I went, and this person is my uncle. I just went to him direct and tell him that what I was holding, now it is done. Since then, I feel free. I feel relieved. And I was perfectly okay. So this is the step that I took.
Thank you. So this was the process of the Peace Circle. You've touched on a number of different elements of it, and it sounds like we could talk a lot, even just about that week. Just continuing for a moment with you, Nyadow, your role now is to coordinate these 8 women from Greater Pibor, Greater Bor, Greater Akobo and Ayod and Rumbek to go back to their communities. Can you tell us a little bit about what the plan is? Well, firstly, the 2 weeks after the Peace Circle, what you were doing all together, and then what the plan is now.
Our next plan now, after we were done with the Peace Circle workshop, the facilitators now, they will be going to their communities and to deliver that knowledge that they have get from the peace circle to their family and in the communities. Now they will facilitating now in their communities, like to tell them to tell them how they have experienced, and even the knowledge that they have get here, like they needed also the community to benefit from this circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like it's one thing to have an amazing experience, but then to prepare these women to go back into their communities and facilitate some kind of small process for groups in the communities. You spent 2 weeks with them after the Peace Circle.
Mm-hmm.
What was that process like, and how are you preparing them to go back to the communities?
So, after the Peace Circles, the next week we embarked on a journey. And it was a journey of coming together, looking at what happened the last 5 days, trying to put it in words, trying to see what was working very well, trying to see what could be of help for them when they go back home. And so the participants, 9 of them, they were able to identify some of the things they thought they would want to take back home. And with that, we were able to develop something much simple that we then now started helping them to understand the concepts and also start training them on how to go and deliver something, a process similar to what they had gone through. And so for 10 days, it was a lot of training and training them on the content, training them on facilitation skills, and at the same time coaching them to facilitate and to do it and to deliver it. And at the same time, the 2 weeks were not just the training and the coaching element, but it was also wrapped in a lot of reflections for them, because the kind of work they will go and do with their communities is not just work. And if peace needs to really happen, then it cannot just be a job. It needs to be done from the right intentions. There must be the right motivation. There must be passion for it. And so there was a lot of time for them to really reflect why they were there and why they wanted to go back in their communities and do something, and how and on what they need to do to make sure that it is a process of transformation that they want to be on. It's a journey of transformation for themselves, for their families, for their communities, and really having to anchor that in their own lives. Because at the end of the day, you can only give that which you have, So there was enough time for that as well. And I remember one of the participants, while we were there, something that she shared, and then that she was really looking forward to going back and doing something in her community, seeing what that whole process had meant for her, and exploring and finding how bitter she was and how much hatred she had carried in her heart. And at some point she was like, if hatred could kill people, by now I could have killed so many people, just by hating them. And she was seeing that she had moved from that place of holding so much bitterness and hatred towards people and starting to find space for forgiveness and love and care and empathy, and really wanting to go back home and do something, because she was like, I think there are very many other people who are exactly like me, And so, yes, it was not just the training on practical and technical things, but also a process for them for a whole 10 days.
So, Minagano, I think Nyadow, I mean, you both mentioned that there's something unique about the experience, and I don't know how many tens of thousands of workshops there have been in South Sudan over the last 10 years. In the midst of all of this, what are the one or two things that give you a sense that this could start to build something in a different way than just another workshop here and there? What are some of all you've said, the key ingredients that give it a potential that perhaps you haven't seen before?
I would say the passion that I have seen in the room with the participants, especially the ones who are, all of them in the beginning, the first week, but also the ones that we have worked with to become the facilitators. They're very passionate about, they have being part of the circle, they appreciate the process, and then they see that there's so many people in their communities that can as well benefit from the circle. So I am hopeful that the passion will drive the process further beyond the 1 week or beyond the 3 weeks that includes the facilitation. And I also think the context awareness of the facilitators, they are very aware that the communities they're going back into to share this experience with, this is a community that is also held back by a lot of cultural norms that usually bring women down, norms that usually stand on the way of giving women their space to discuss. They are very aware of that, and they have started to discuss how they are going to navigate some of these challenges. So to me, it is very important that the participants are forward-looking. They know this is important, but also they are willing to go through the challenges and create plans on how they're going to address this different challenge. There's a lot of passion. I remember one participant is saying that she now views peace as a fruit, and she has tested it, and the fruit is sweet, and she cannot wait to share it with other women in her community and with her whole community. So to me, there's a lot of energy that is fueling what is going to get back into the community. And I think, that gives a lot of hope.
So last question, and it'll be great to hear from each of you. We come back, in principle, we come back together in November with these women to see how it's going and then the next steps from there. What's one hope you have for the period between now and when we bring everything together again in November? Nyadow, what's one hope?
Okay, what I know and what I heard from them, like the facilitators mentioned that they are committed and they are ready to take any challenges that they are going to face until they deliver the message that they have collected here. Because, in our communities, different communities, but they said women are the ones suffering a lot. Like, it could be nice and good also if at least they have had these peace building activities, or they have had these workshops. Like at least the women also, they are the victims actually in South Sudan, because they are the husbands who are being killed, their children, and even their parents. Like they can have that. If they had that knowledge, also they can go and disseminate it and prevent anything that can cause harm in the community, which after all there will be no peace. Like they are saying that the hope that we are having, it's like what I know, they are going to do the activity And by November, I'm sure they will come up with something good. Yes.
Any other?
Well, for me, my hope is that the message, the experience that we have in Juba will really, other women in the States will benefit from it the same way and even more. And they can take it further. It should not end it will not end with the few women who are, I would say, privileged to be part of the space. Other women should also get to experience that and let the message continue to grow. And then I hope that it will change how women are viewed in the community, because I think women, after experience that, would have more courage to speak for themselves, to speak for their communities. And I also hope that would translate into how women participate in spaces that are quote unquote considered to be male spaces. I hope that women will be able to be more proactive and make sure that their voices and their issues are part of the peace building discussions at the community, at their states, and even at the national level. So I'm looking forward to the ripple effect. Yeah.
Two things. One, that the facilitators will have the courage to do what they have to do. I think it might come with a lot of challenges for them, but not to forget the passion that they left with, to hold on to that passion, to hold on to the bigger picture that they had for their communities. And if that could help them to really hold on even when things get really difficult. And number two, that what they will start, the women they will be reaching out to, the community leaders that will get to know what is happening, that they will embrace it, they will support those women, that those women will also find courage to advocate for themselves, to advocate for peace within themselves, to advocate for peace in their families, to advocate for peace in their communities, that they can be able to see that they have a role to play, and for the rest of the community, including men, to really start seeing the importance of having women as well participate in peace processes, and to really know and acknowledge that there can never be peace if we are leaving an entire population of women outside the peace process. And so, allow the women to be part of it. And perhaps, have a strong network of women that are advocating for peace, a peace that is really based on their own personal transformation and commitment to really make peace happen. Because again, peace is not something that has a destination. Peace is an everyday thing. Peace is a weekly thing. It's something that people have to live. Every decision you make, you're making either a decision to create peace or a decision to destroy peace. So how do we get this whole network of women coming together, those who are conscious of all that and determined and committed and dedicated to make decisions and choices that create peace, that build peace, that, moves the society towards sustainable peace and development?
Great note to wrap up on. I think in POF we're allergic to one-off events, and this is very clearly a process that has a lot of momentum, and we'll look forward to picking up this conversation as it unfolds. But thank you all for sharing these perspectives and stories from the experience so far.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.